Callum Ilott. He was having fun this morning.
He was having fun, and he's not in the car right now. We've only got a few cars on track. Let's first talk about that. How much running will we see? You can't speak to everyone, but from your car here in this 3-hour session with the tire allotment.
A little bit. I think it's hard to say right now, I think, because everything's so hot and the ambience so high. I don't think many are going to be putting tyres on, but there'll be some who didn't use them in the first session, or as many. So yeah, it's a bit of a wait and see kind of game.
And I think it's probably 25 degrees warmer this afternoon than it will be for the heat races and the feature race on Sunday to pay the money. So safe to say that any running today has nothing to do with this weekend. It's what can you learn for other road courses.
I think you've summed it up very well. So yeah, that's the way I think most people are going to look at it. Again, there's still some things you can take. I think tire degradation is quite high here. So you've got to try and put some things in place for that. We can test some other little things, but again, you've got to be really cautious as to what you take in tomorrow at a lower temperature.
So at St. Pete, it was a difficult ask to come in with really no time in the car. You're racing to start the season, but since then, you've got that weekend. You had a test at Barber on Monday where you were P2, and now you're kind of on level playing field. What's your comfort level in the Arrow McLaren program?
Yeah, it's got better and better every hour that I've been in the car. They've done a great job to get me going here. St. Pete was good, but, you know, they always want a little bit more, and it's so tight, this field, that maybe the 2-3 tenths that I missed to Pato, who's in P2, P3, and I'm mid-pack. It's tough. You've got to find those little bits, and that's a tough ask to do in what is a very similar car, but so subtly different as well. And that's what's tough to get used to. But Barber was a great test for us as a team, and also for me in the number 6 NGT data, Arrow McLaren Chevrolet. But I think going here, we've got another day after this, and I started off strong, so hopefully I can continue that.
All right, Callum Ilott was in the top 10 in the practice session this morning, and we'll see him out here in the heat of the day in just a few minutes.
Look, I think who's at the top of the charts, though, is down on pit lane with Kevin Lee.
Talk to the fastest guy in session number 1 this morning, the defending champion, Alex Palou. So what was your approach to practice 1, especially in the cooler part of the day?
Yeah, I mean, we went out really early, try to get some clean laps. We know it was going to be the best conditions that we were going to have all day, just because of the ambient temperatures and all that stuff. So yeah, it was good. We just wanted to get some laps in. Tire deck is pretty high up here, but it's the same for everybody. Hopefully that's going to make the race very, very interesting. And yeah, looking forward to going out now in a couple of minutes, see if the changes we made over lunch are good or not, and then yeah.
How important is it to learn for the race on Sunday compared to just learn things for the championship?
Yeah, we're doing kind of both at the same time, right? Like, we want to focus on the race that we have this weekend, but at the same time, it's an opportunity to take today and a little bit tomorrow morning as a test day. We have a lot of time, not that much tires, but we have a lot of time to make big changes and see if the directions we want to go, it's left or right, or just stay in the middle as we are now. So yeah, it's good, it's exciting, and it's great that we're here racing.
Go back to St. Pete. You did what you did last year. You made the most of it, and that led to a championship. What did you take away from it? People might say, wait a minute, no Ganassi's on the podium. Is there an issue? But there's always more to the story, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, maybe we got very used to being on the podium last year. Honestly, it was amazing, but it's tough to get there. We didn't really have the pace we wanted in qualifying. We struggled a little bit more than we wanted. And then the race, honestly, that yellow lap 28 or 26 hurt us a little bit. Not only us, but to everybody. We couldn't really play much with the strategies. So we thought we were in a good place during the race. Still finished P6. So it was a good start of the season. It was better than last year. But yeah, for sure, we'll get there.
That's a scary thought, guys. It was still a better start than last year, and he stomped the competition in the championship in 23.
Well, he started.
So yeah, Scott is back here. Not done for the day. This is a test session, right? You have time to go back and work on some things.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, we've got a race this weekend, absolutely. We're wanting to chase that big money check, but you know, ultimately this is a big deal for us, getting some track time in between events. And you know, the XPEL wagon feels really good, the XPEL Chevy. it's a little iffy this morning. I was like, I just didn't feel that great, and then we made some changes over the break and felt really good then. So yeah, it's nice.
So what do you want to work on? What needs to be changed to come back and try to figure something out?
I can't tell you that.
I know you can't, but you could. You're pretty good at speaking in vagaries.
No, we are in a we're just trying a couple of different things with the front geometry. So what I want from the front of the car, and hopefully that pays off a little bit better and makes the car a bit more even feeling. In the high speed and the slow speed. The slow speed, it's really hard this track because you got slow speed corners, high speed corners. You got to try and make the mix of both. So trying to make sure that your car works on both ends is really hard. But that's why we got a lot of testing.
People are talking about the higher deg, a high deg. What can you do as a driver? What can the team do to try to limit that as much as possible? Maybe make the difference at the end of this race on Sunday.
They can do it. They can help us a lot, whether it's pressures or whatnot. But I think at the same time, it's going to come down to myself, Joseph, Will, and how we drive our Team Penske cars. I think, our right foot does a lot in the way that we, allow the car to slide underneath us, and it's a matter of us just, trying to make that fast enough to be good enough to hold our position, but also look after the tyres throughout the race. So hopefully we're one of the lucky ones that can enter the 12 at the end of the weekend and see if it pays off.
Last thing, I think you might be one that can speak to this unique environment. So I was down there and kind of like what I call the food court with all the food trucks, and then I look up and there's a Q&A with you and your Penske teammates there. So you got to interact and see what it was like. What do you make of this from a fan standpoint?
I said it smelled like Disney World over there. It's like there's churros and waffle cones, and for a guy that's trying to lose weight right now, it's not the best smell, but we're in a good spot. It's a beautiful place down here in Palm Springs. The team here at Thermal have done an amazing job. The patios and the casitas around here, they really look after us, and just hopefully we put on a great show. I think we will. It's IndyCar, we always do, and hopefully everyone has a good fun watching it.
We're working on Scott getting a winner home here next year, so that'll be the plan. Thanks, Scott. I've got Linus Lundqvist. One of the good things about these tests, not only do you see interesting people here, we normally don't, but we have more time to talk to drivers because they're not going to run the entire time, 5 hours of track time today. So, Linus, you've done just a couple laps in this session. What's going on? Did you discover something you needed to make a change, or was this all part of the plan?
Yeah, all very much part of the plan. These sessions are very long, so you got plenty of downtime and really think about the changes you want to make, and you can actually make changes that take a little bit longer time. So that's what we're doing right now.
So 5 cars, there's a lot that can be done within Chip Ganassi Racing. I mean, I know maybe Brad Goldberg is the person to ask about this, but how do you manage all of that to not get too far in the weeds when you start thinking about what can be done and what should be done?
Yeah, I mean, the team has done such a great job over winter. I know that, they put in a lot of work and effort from the boys and girls back at the shop to make sure that we're prepared. But everything's been running smoothly. St. Pete went great. And obviously, the positive thing about running 5 cars is that you get extra data. But obviously, it takes time to kind of go through everything and make sure that, you're not just looking at a lap, but it's actually good data and something that you can build from.
All right, we'll see you back in the car as soon as it gets back on pit lane here in just a few minutes.
Kev, who have you found this time around?
Pietro Fittipaldi, and I found the area of pit lane I want to be in, but I'm right on the brink. If you can see me, half of me's in the sun, half not. But Pietro Fittipaldi, he may be a young driver, but he's a smart young man. He's in the shade. I like this in a pit lane, and I'm sure your guys like it too.
Yeah, it's much better, it's for sure, when we're doing a big test day like this, to be a bit in the shade. For qualifying, maybe not, because obviously you want heat on your tires and stuff, so if the sun's not on it, it's a little bit different. But we're finding solutions for that. But it's been good to test on this new track. I've never been here before. It's very fast, very bumpy as well. It's exciting.
And for someone in a new situation, every moment is precious. There's so little testing. How big is this weekend for your program?
It's huge. I mean, every time I get back in the car, I'm gaining confidence and we're going faster. And we saw that like in St. Pete, just the progression and stuff. St. Pete wasn't a forgiving track. I mean, if you make a mistake, you're in the wall. So we were really taking it step by step through the practices, even in qualifying. And then in the race, I knew that I was going to gain a lot of rhythm. And we did that, and then our pace picked up quite a lot, and we had a solid finish. But here, it's really important to do as many laps as possible and just keep gaining that mileage.
Yeah, you were the biggest mover at St. Pete. That first race is always tough. It's the first race, street race, it's hot. And you hadn't driven an IndyCar on a road or street course in a few years. How was that?
Yeah, it was crazy. It was my first time on a street circuit with the IndyCar. I've been in street circuits before, but mainly in Europe, and it's so much bumpier over here. It's crazy. So it makes it much more exciting, but for sure more difficult to drive because the car is just hopping around everywhere and under braking and stuff, and it's cool. And even in this track here, like going into the main stretch here, like you almost get a little airborne out of turn 17. So it's yeah, man, it's really fun, and I love IndyCar, so that's why I'm here.
How much longer before you're back in?
Probably 30 minutes. I think we're going to go back in the garage, make a change, and then go back out.
Okay, thank you. Pietro Fittipaldi.
We were having a
engineer, but Joseph Newgarden, cool hand Luke, all is good in the Tasty Twos.
And he's in the shade as well, which continues the theme for this reporter. All right, you've had, a couple of really short stints in this session, and that's it. It's a test session. What's the plan? How's it going?
I mean, we're relaxed, Kevin. You know, we're at the Thermal Club. It feels like vacation. It's not vacation. We're very serious about what we're doing here. But no, we're trying to take it a little easy. It's a very unique setup, right? This is like a pseudo super test / money challenge. Obviously, it's still a race coming up on Sunday, but there's a lot of track time. There's a lot of sets of tires. You know, conditions are going to be different from today to tomorrow to Sunday. So we're just trying to figure out how to organize things as best as possible. It's actually a really great opportunity. You know, fans that don't normally get to see us test on a long format like this, we do things where it takes a lot of time. You run something, you go back for 40 minutes, you come back out. So we're trying to take use of this track time to try big ticket items that you don't always get on a race weekend.
And I don't know what your perspective is, but mine as a fan, as a broadcaster, is I love this. It's not just a normal test. We've got extra things along with it. And then just the logistics. You know, your paddock is right there. Everything's so close. You're staying here on property. Do you like this as a driver where testing sometimes is monotonous?
It's super fun. I mean, look, we're out here. We're having a great time. It's a beautiful track, beautiful facility. You know, I always enjoy driving an IndyCar, so I'm not going to complain about that. But it is a fun setup. You know, I like that people are getting to see this. Hopefully we're showing people the behind the scenes, because, you know, there's stuff that happens on a test day that you wouldn't, you know, the stuff we're doing today you wouldn't normally see on a race weekend. Race weekend's very like rapid fire. You got to kind of go with what you know. You can't take huge risks all the time. Whereas today, you know, we're being methodical. We're trying some philosophical things. Just trying to take advantage of the setup that we do have. But it is fun. You know, it's pretty weather out here. We've already seen a lot of IndyCar fans that have come up and asked questions, which is great. And like you said, at the end of the day, we're going to have to get serious come tomorrow, get very serious on Sunday. There's a lot of money on the line, and we still want to succeed on this challenge.
Speaking of serious, I have hard-hitting journalistic questions in my ear from the booth. What flavor of ice cream is what I'm being asked?
I'm a sucker for soft serve. Me and Will Power, we had lunch, and we saw the soft serve truck, and we did this little Q&A. And we were like, man, we really want some soft serve. And we were like,
I was in that line.
Were you? Okay. And we were like, well, let's have it after the test day. Let's not get it in between. And I was like, I think they're gonna leave. And so we asked them when do they leave, and they said 3 o'clock. And we were like, we got to eat it now. So we had soft serve. I had sprinkles on mine. I like it all. I'm a vanilla, chocolate. I was vanilla today, but it was very good.
Apparently the booth has more. Go ahead, Townsend, and I'll pass it along.
That's good to know. The threes are thirsty, the twos are tasty, and I'm just curious. Practice session 1, it looked like Joe News, his car setup looked really lazy, but I was suspecting it was intentional to set things up to be good at the end of the challenge and take the cash. Am I reading too much? Is that part of the plan? Is the really soft, lazy car to protect the rears?
Okay, took a while, as you can tell. Is the plan to have a soft, lazy car to protect the rears? That's what he noticed, what he thought you guys were doing in the first practice today.
Great question. You know, tire degradation is sometimes such a mystery, right? You know, I do think speed's going to kind of trump this weekend in a lot of ways. Like, the car has to be fast, but to Townsend's point, you know, you're going to have a lot of degradation. Across 20 laps on this, you know, real shootout, there's going to be a ton of tire drop off. I just think starting up front is going to be really critical. You know, it's hard to balance how quick of a car versus, you know, how much do you want to protect the tires. That's why I say it's sort of a dark art sometimes, understanding how to preserve tires. You do some things mechanically that you think would be terrible to preserve the tires, and they end up working. So we're experimenting today, trying to understand what that's going to be. I think tomorrow morning you're going to see a lot of that. Conditions will be representative tomorrow morning for race running. So you may see more of it then. But we're trying a bunch of stuff. I don't think we're going to leave speed on the table, though, just for tire deg. I do think starting up front's pretty critical.
Last one is from Chief Correspondent Lee Diffie. Go ahead, please, caller.
Kevo, please ask him which part of the track has challenged him the most? Has he had any big moments we didn't see? And then which part of the track of this thermal club does he love the most?
Which part of the track has challenged him most? Have you had any big moments? And then is there a part that you love the most?
I've had some moments. I've about threw the car on the fence a couple times. 17 coming on the front straightaway is very difficult. You know, you have the bumps that you're going across, and then you're trying to stay flat out onto the front straightaway, and you're getting crossed up. So I almost threw it off there 2 or 3 times. You know, the high-speed section is full on. Like, you got to really commit with this car. So I think that 8, 9, then getting into 10, 11, and I think that's probably the most fun, especially the 10, 11, 12 section leading into that final corner is really cool to drive. So. Yeah, it's a blast. It's very technical. Like, you get everything here. You got high speed, mid speed, you got hairpins, you got a chicane. The car's got to be like very versatile. You can't sort of prioritize one thing or the other. And that's why I say, you know, with the tire degradation question is really, it's a good question. It's just, it's hard to answer it, you know, because the car's got to be good at everything here. And, you know, what you would traditionally think would help tire degradation may not help you here.
Thanks for playing along.
Yeah, you got it.
It's in the early pages of the opening chapter. Is Tom Blomqvist? Let's hear from Tom with Kevin.
Yeah, still very much early days with just a few race weekends last year, but now an off season to prepare for it. You've got St. Pete out of the way. Is this weekend more critical for you, or maybe more beneficial for you than it is for some others that have been doing this a little while longer?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, it's obviously beneficial for everyone, right? More time on track with these cars is always beneficial for any sort of, you know, racing team and racing driver. So yeah, it's just still like chipping away at it, you know. Yeah, I'm glad that we're here, and it's not like a points-paying weekend, right? So for me, it's just testing. It's obviously quite a technical track, actually. It's quite a difficult venue. And we don't have that many tires, so it's actually really hard to try and make steps forward in the right direction, because the degradation around here is actually quite high. So it's challenging. It's a challenging track, but it's quite a fun track to drive. And it's obviously very long. It's long for an IndyCar for a track. So yeah, I'm having fun out there. Obviously in a beautiful part of the world as well, and the sun's shining, so it's always good. But yeah, it's just good to get more time in the car.
And you're making this transition from a full-time sports car driver, and you're doing that in the middle of really still going back and forth. You started the season at Daytona, you do some IndyCar testing, a race, you're at Sebring last weekend. What is the adjustment when you're going back and forth week in, week out?
Yeah, I mean, it's getting easier and easier, obviously. When I wasn't very familiar with this car, you know, every time I sat back in it just felt odd, you know, just the position a little bit different, the way you feel everything just a little bit different. But now when I'm jumping between the two, it doesn't feel different when I'm jumping back. So that's the first sort of baby steps in acclimatizing to the car, which is good. But it's still just the little intricacies of getting the most out of this car. You know, making the car turn the way I want it to turn, making it, you know, accelerate out the corners the way I want to accelerate out the corner, and just getting that, you know, trajectory of the car in the right place for me to, like, extract the performance from it. So it's still just, you know, learning all those little intricacies of this car. You know, it behaves very differently to what I'm used to.
It's hot today. It's not going to be nearly as hot tomorrow, and cool on Sunday. Are these conditions going to make tomorrow and Sunday feel a little bit more comfortable on track?
It's definitely going to be quicker. Okay. You know, the car and this track being so long, also this type of surface, the tires don't hold on for very long. So yeah, it's pretty hard work out there this afternoon compared to this morning even. But yeah, I mean, when it's cooled down for Sunday, it's going to be a lot nicer, and the car's going to handle a lot better, a lot quicker. So yeah, it's going to be a lot more fun.
Thanks, Tom. Tom Blomqvist, Meyer Shank Racing.
Good stuff. Another guy from overseas who has a cool story is Marcus Armstrong. He's with Kevin.
And I'm your boots on the ground, so you ask, why has Marcus Armstrong not been out on track much this afternoon? Let's just ask him. Why not?
Well, I don't know if you realize we're in the middle of a desert. It's really
Oh, I've noticed.
It's hot out here, so just waiting a little bit, and I don't know if the track temp will come down a lot, but every little bit helps, I guess, especially when we have limited tires. So we're going to get out on track soon, don't worry.
And you got some productive running in this morning. You were P3. What did you learn in the morning session?
Yeah, it was good. We rolled out. The car was good straight away from the first lap, so That's always positive when you arrive at a circuit and feel like the car's in the right window. So we haven't done a lot of laps, really. I think we've done like 18, so we've got a lot to discover still, but yeah, so far so good.
You like this track, or are you getting something out of this weekend?
Certainly, I love this track. It's very fast and flowing towards the end of the circuit, and then there's a lot of challenges through the first sector with stop-start sort of corners. So I think it's a great challenge for us as drivers, and I enjoy it.
So when we were kind of walking down the pit lane, and Diff noticed up on your pit stand a familiar face from the Formula One world. Angela Cullen worked with Lewis Hamilton for quite a while. She's sitting up there. Is she on your team now?
Yeah, good spot. She's come into this race and a few others. I'm not exactly sure how many, but she's just been helping me out over the off-season. She's a Kiwi as well, so we linked up over the off-season, and so far so good. I've gained a bit of weight finally. These cars are animals to drive, so you've got to be in top form to be able to properly wrestle it around. So she's been a great help to me, and we're just trying to progress through so we can win some races.
Whether it's Angela or anyone else, that's part of it that maybe most of us don't understand. You're looking for just the tiniest advantage. What can you do off track that can kind of help you find that edge?
Exactly. It's the 1%ers in this sport, because everyone's at such a high level. Being in a good physical form is obviously a part of it. Everyone knows that. It's not a secret, but it's also it's the little things. It's how to get your mind on top of it all and eliminate those distractions and just, get those results. So step by step, we're getting there.
All right. Thank you. We're going to bring that temp down real soon, so maybe get you out on track here in about 20 minutes.
Thanks, man.
500, a race that the driver with Kevin Lee hopes to win for a second time in his career.
He is going to be one of the favorites, but we're talking about other things today, including road course testing. Scott, how's it going?
Not too bad. We haven't run too much. I think, people are looking at the weather for the next couple of days and how it's going to be a big swing. So, just done 2 tire runs, just finished the second one. It's difficult here, man. At least for us, or my car, we're just struggling to try and settle the rear on entry and then big understeer. So I think most people are probably playing with that as well. But we'll just keep working here. It's definitely a unique circuit and a bit different to some of the others we go to.
Does it feel like any other circuit as far as the conditions and the tire deg and everything else?
It's quite low grip, for me at least. Coming from Barber, it feels totally different that we did, test earlier in the week. And then it kind of reminds me a little bit of Laguna Seca before it got repaved, where it's kind of slippery. The tire deck's pretty high, which sometimes makes it a little more difficult to test some things, but it's wild out there, man. It's fun. You got some pretty unique spots and some difficult places that make it not an easy lap to piece together.
This is a new situation for the team with 5 cars. What are you seeing that's different? There's advantages, and there's probably the engineering meetings probably take a little bit longer.
They do take a lot longer. But it's been good, actually. The transition has been really smooth. I think, they hired a lot of great people. And then, with splitting some of the teams up and moving people around, I think it's transitioned really well. So, and everybody works well together, which is sometimes the hardest part. But, so far so good. I'm sure there'll be weekends throughout the year that maybe double headers and things like that get a little more difficult just with people's time. But it's been good so far.
Thank you, Scott.
Thanks, man. Cheers.
Let's join one of his Andretti Global teammates with Kevin.
Yeah, so we watch his teammate there. When you see someone else, Kyle, in their onboard, do you watch to pick up things? Can you learn something from another car, especially if it's you've got access to that video, but if it's another team's car?
Yeah, definitely. We watch the broadcast, we record it, right? Which I think we're allowed to. Just putting that out there, we're allowed to.
I would think, yeah. So we won't hit you on any copyright violations.
Exactly. And we watch the other cars to see what they're doing. Not only just line, but characteristics of the car, right? You want to see what level of understeer, oversteer they have. You can also kind of hear their gearing and have an idea of where you want to go if you feel like you're off on gearing and somebody else is beating you with that. Also, just how they bring up tires, if they're avoiding curves, if they're not using curves, which is obviously a thing here as we watch Colton go around. There's a lot that you can learn from watching other people. Obviously, Colton's somebody that I can just pull up his video whenever I want. We have the exact same footage. But other people, that's not the case, right? We have to get on the broadcast and pick up these videos that everyone gets to see, right?
do we know who's going to be good in this race yet? Is it too early to tell, or people are working on too many different things to really get a gauge?
I think, yeah, it's too early to tell. But we think we're going to be really good based on testing last year. The conditions are a lot hotter than they were last year when we were here, and they're supposed to cool off as the weekend goes on. So we think that that's going to kind of play in our favor a little bit. So, yeah, well, I think Ganassi's obviously really quick. VeeKay throwing it out there, Lundqvist's throwing it out there, Penske's throwing it out there right now. So we'll see exactly what happens. But last year it was us and Ganassi, I think, and hopefully that's going to be the case again, especially with our Honda Power showing up on Sunday.
So I know you like the water in South Florida, and I'm told there's a surf club here at Thermal. We can take a look at some video. Do you know anything of this? And just kind of watch along. Maybe you can get involved somehow. I'm sure Townsend has the hookup.
That looks like, I haven't actually seen this one here. It looks like the Waco one that's in Waco, Texas, almost identical. But no, I'm a big surfer, right? I was surfing 2 days ago, whatever day before I left to come out here. I was out surfing in Florida. It was pretty good. That's really cool, though. I should go try that out while I'm here. I don't think I've got the time to, but maybe Monday morning.
Thanks, Kyle. By the way, coming up,
Kevin spoke with him earlier. Who are you speaking with now, Kev?
The fastest man in this session, Rinus VeeKay with Ed Carpenter Racing. Big one here a little while ago. Was that a crawl sim, or are you just super fast?
We are fast. We've worked hard on everything. I mean, this is the first time Christian and I have shared the track in a test, basically. So we really used that and both tried to go a different direction and took the best thing over lunch, and it's been working. It's very hot though, so tomorrow will be a lot different. I think these are the highest track temperatures we're gonna have, but I'm happy. I mean, being fast is a good sign, definitely. Doesn't matter what the temperatures are, the conditions. But yeah, great job by the guys, by ECR crew. They're hard workers. It's been a lot of work in the offseason to be fast, and got some new people that have brought in some info, and yeah, it's fun to have a fast car.
It was a good start to the season at St. Petersburg with the top 10. You only had a couple of those last year, and now you get some extra time. What are you learning here beyond this weekend? Is this going to help you even more down the road?
I think so, yes. This is definitely a great test for the road courses, which we haven't really tested on other than Homestead, which was super low grip. So I think this is a really good indication and help for our road course package coming up later in the season. And yeah, this was, we had a lot of focus in this test on improving the stuff we had, and I think we really did.
So if you're fast, is there a thought that we want, how important is this weekend to be in that final and to have a chance to win the cash? Do you feel like it's there for you?
It is a pretty good indication, I would say. I mean, main priority this weekend is learn as much as possible and progress as much each session, and the money or no money or points, it doesn't matter. We want to be fast and we want to win, and the closer we get to that, the better we feel.
Townsend has a question. You can't hear it, so I'll go ahead and relay it.
Hey,
go ahead.
Kevin, it's Rinus' 5th year in the series. He's been fast since day one, but what are all the things that he's better at now in year 5 that he didn't know or, wasn't good at as a rookie?
So Townsend's question is, we know you've been fast from the beginning, but now in year 5, what do you know now that you didn't know then that makes you more of a complete package?
I think I really know what the car needs, and I think at this point the team told me stuff and I said yes, I'll do it no matter what. I think I guide the team more and try to steer them into a direction, so I think my voice is a bit stronger than it has been, and it needs to be with me being the veteran in the team right now. So yeah, I feel like I'm really as much as a leader as I can be at this point.
Thank you, Rinus.